It is that time of the year. It is horror movie season. Halloween is just around the corner. Of course, we are in the month of October here. I'm going to let you know my top 10 horror films of all time, and I'm excited to hear yours in the comments. So let's get started right now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Tyson, and we are here to talk about movies. That's right, we do movie reviews, movie trailer reactions. We cover major movie news on our Mid One podcast. We do movie rankings, Oscar Mondays. We try to do it all here on the channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, please check us on out and subscribe. We are on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys along for that journey. With that all being said and out of the way, let's get into it. Horror movies. How am I going to feel about them? Well, I love horror movies. I really do. They're fun. Some are better than others. There definitely are some duds. But I do feel like this genre has been getting better and better. There's been great films in this genre in the past couple of years. And I really feel like it's on an upward spiral here. So that's great for horror movie fans like us here. With that being said, my top 10 here may look different from yours because I'm going to leave out some notable films that I include more in the thriller genre than horror. For example, Get Out, Us, Jordan Peele films. I adore Get Out. I really do. It gets better and better every time I watch it. However, I don't consider that a horror movie as much as I do a thriller movie. So that would be included in my thriller movie genre instead of my horror. So you won't see that here. So you won't see Us here as well. You will not see It Follows either. I think that is a very, very good film. It also gets better every time I watch it. However, I wouldn't consider it has horror elements for sure. All these films do, but I consider it more of a thriller as well. Lights Out, directed by James Wan, is my honorable mention, I would say, for this horror list. I really do like that movie, but it's about at 11 and 12, kind of just on the cusp. So let's get started with number 10, and that is Creep. This film stars Mark Duplass, who I absolutely love. In this movie, you can say it's a thriller, and I guess it's kind of one in a way, but I would say it's more horror because it is great. This character is just a creepy, strange guy, has a front kind of for this cameraman to come on and film him in his doings and his day to day, just so he can give this to his son who is coming because he has cancer. Yeah, obviously that's not the actual story here, and there's a dark meaning behind it. But I think it gets you on the edge of your seat. You are scared the entire time you are watching it for this cameraman who is Aaron, played by Patrick Bryce. And I think the way that this is just choreographed in a way and directed, and the way that the story arc of this these two characters here, it's different. I haven't really seen it ever done before. There's really only these two people in the entire film, but it is just so special. It really is. It captures what horror is. It captures the beauty of it, and it does it to the best extent possible. There's also a sequel, Creep 2, which is also very good. I just personally prefer this first one. But if you haven't seen either of these two, they are smaller films. They are both streaming on Netflix. I would highly recommend checking these two out. They're only about around the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. So a little breeze on by, but I think you'll really enjoy it, especially during this season. So make sure to check out Creep and Creep 2. Coming in at number 9, we have Paranormal Activity. That's right, this first one that introduced the found footage genre, and a low budget, I think of like $15,000 to make this movie. You don't need a lot of movie. Wow, you don't need a lot of money to make a good horror movie, and that is shown here at its finest. I think Paranormal Activity is such a important film, I would say, in the horror genre. It really did revitalize it and change it in a certain way. Some would say for the better, some would say for the worse. But yeah, this film really does scare the living crap out of me. Every time I watch it, I still have chills run up and down my body. Yeah, it's not the scariest film on this list or even in the world, but it still really gets you because you are still on the edge of your seat. You're invested in these characters, and this story really just does freak you out to your cold. You really think, what would I do in this situation if it were to happen to me? That's how I feel actually with all these films, is it does a great job putting you in these characters' places, making you think, what would you do if in this situation? I think that's what makes horror movies great. I think they're the best films that do that. And I think Paranormal Activity here is a great example of that. So it comes in at number 9, Also a good James Wan film. All right, coming in at number 8, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, 1974. Yeah, this one just, it freaks you out for multiple reasons. One, somebody else putting a dead person's face on their own face. I mean, I don't think you can get much scarier actually than that. It's just terrifying, and also it's based on true events as well. Just the way that this crazy lunatic family is, and these poor group of people get stuck right in the middle of it. I mean, this is a one that's kind of hard to watch in a way because it's so real, and it doesn't have to deal with demons or any spiritual events. It's just people interacting with people, and that's almost what makes it scarier. Is because technically it did happen. It could happen. And that's what makes a film very scary, especially when it is as good as this one is. And there has been a lot of remakes based on this story. Some have been actually pretty good. I don't hate all of the remakes, actually. Yes, this one's the best, but the, I guess, franchise it technically has isn't that bad, according to me. But this one, obviously, it's the first one, it's the best, and it really does grab your attention, and it makes you scared of people, honestly. So, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, original, 1974, comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have It. It Chapter 1 in 2017, of course, directed by Andy Muschietti. This one is great. I'll never forget Pennywise, seeing him for the first time on screen, played by Bill Skarsgård. I think is brilliant, and it scared me right away. In the scene with Georgie when he's in the gutter, I was in the recliner chair. I was watching it with a group of friends, loving it, having a great time. And then, the mouth starts to open up and he starts going after Georgie. I jumped out of my seat, and then I started, my leg, I got a Charlie horse. Oh, that hurt. And that hurt to get out in the theater too. But it's because of that scare. It really did get me. This film is something special. It really is. I know it's a newer film, but it's truly, I think, one of the best horror films to have taken place ever. And because of how I was scared in that moment, and because of how terrifying Pennywise is throughout this film, just terrorizing this group of friends, young friends too, and obviously they defeat him in the end, do a great job of it. But the way that this is filmed and choreographed by Andy Muschietti, I think with the camera angles especially, really is what makes this film a great horror film. So, It Chapter 1, 2017, comes in at number 7. Unfortunately, It Chapter 2, I did not think was actually, that good. All right, well, moving on to number 6, we have Insidious. This is also directed by James Wan. He is a master of horror, and it shows here Patrick Wilson is starring, and it is about this family with this young child who is, getting terrorized through young spiritual demons. And I think notably the best scare of this film is, and probably, it was my scariest point too, which is why that solely made it get on this list. But when Patrick Wilson is sitting there talking to, I think, like that older lady who is helping them with these problems, and then you see the red demon it turns to Patrick Wilson and he just appears right then and there. Oh, it freaks everybody I know who has seen this movie. It freaks them out so much that, we have to pause the movie for them to, recoup. Yeah, it's just scary. It is a great thriller. It is a great horror movie. James Wan, again, knows how to do it. He is a master at this stuff, and it is more than just jump scares in this film as well. So that is why I love it, especially that scene. Patrick Wilson's great as well, but it's always one that I can rewatch, and yeah, it still scares me every time I watch it. So Insidious comes in at number 6. Following up, another James Wan. Coming in at number 5, we have The Conjuring. Of course, the one that kind of started this whole, revitalization, I guess, of the horror genre. I've heard friends that when they went to the theater, they wanted to go see a priest to get blessed because of how scared they were about this movie of The Conjuring. And of course, is based on true events. Patrick Wilson is also in here again. And yeah, I think it is great. It opens up with this scary, creepy Annabelle doll. Yes, she scares the hell out of you. Sure did with me. So that's always great. And then the demons and and how they impact the family, also very scary. Yeah, there are great jump scares in here, but there are also good lingering moments of horror that are threaded in throughout this movie that make it so great. So Conjuring number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have The Strangers, a great home invasion movie, but also thrilling as well. And it scares you every single time because, again, you're put in the situation. What would I do if it was me? Think it's great. Liv Tyler is amazing in this one. What it is these two lovebirds here, I think they just got married or something along those lines. They go into this home that they, I guess, rented. They are the only ones in the whole entire neighborhood. Everyone else gone, pitch black, nobody's responding. And then they start realizing little things are happening. And this group of 3 people in just regular old masks are there to terrorize them. And yes, they do want to kill them, but they want to scare them a lot of times before they ultimately do it. And I think that is just brilliant. And the way this film ends, also very brilliant as well. All right, coming in at number 3, we have Chernobyl Diaries. This is a film I saw when I was young as a kid. And yeah, I was way too young to see it because it freaked me out so much. But every single time I watch this one, it's great. I don't think a lot of people know that this exists. Obviously, it happens around the Chernobyl site. People go in for tours. Stuff ends up happening. They can't get back, and they have to stay in this bus. Yeah, that's when things start to go astray. And it doesn't turn out really well for that whole entire group of travelers. I think it is an amazing film, very underrated, but very scary as well because it happens around the scary site of Chernobyl, period, with what happened there and everything. And on top of that, crazy horror, spiritual things happening. I think it is just a very unique story. I think it's very brilliant, and I do think it's very small because I don't think a lot of people know about this film, so I'd love to bring attention to it. Definitely go out and check out Chernobyl Diaries. Coming in at number 2, this is probably the scariest film I've ever seen. You may not ask why it's number 1, but I'll tell you why. But number 2, coming in, it is Sinister. Sinister, starring Ethan Hawke, is absolutely the scariest I've ever been. I mean, this film does, it's just, every time I rewatch it, I feel like it's the first time. This evil spirit, I forget the name, but it's just the white face around the black eyes. When you see it come on screen, how it terrorizes families, singles out children, make the children commit the crimes. It is gut-wrenching. It really is. Ethan Hawke is this author who moves on into this house where one of these crimes happened. He knows it, doesn't tell his family. That doesn't work out well for him. But then we see it terrorizing his family and how he reacts to it. He feels that guilt. A brilliant, brilliant movie. Hands down, again, one of the best horror films, I think, of all time. Scariest that I've ever seen. And I would just recommend seeing this one, and I'm very intrigued to know what you guys would think about this one down below. But, number 1, it is Halloween. The original Halloween, Michael Myers, right here. I absolutely love this film. It is one of my favorite films of all time. I think John Carpenter does a great job with this one. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, this is where she got her start. But I think that Michael Myers is obviously the scariest person ever in a horror film. I remember watching this one. I was starting it with my parents. They had to turn it off because I was getting too scared. I was sleeping down on the couch, and I saw in our laundry room, I swear I saw a white face, and I just could not move, and I put my head under the blanket. Again, I think I was too young to see this one, but that just goes to attest on how really scary this one is and how well this film holds up. It really does. The sequels, maybe not so much, but this one you can always come back to and have a fantastic time. I absolutely love Halloween, and it is my favorite horror film of all time. All right, guys. Well, that was my top 10. Let me know your thoughts on it down below, and please, please, please give me your top 10. I'm very excited to discuss this horror genre with you. Of course, we are in the horror movie season, and I may be doing some reviews on some of these movies when I go back and watch them. I think I definitely will do a review for Halloween since it is my favorite one. But definitely check out these ones, too, that I listed that I think are a little smaller, like Creep, like Chernobyl Diaries. If you haven't gotten a chance, I highly recommend it, especially during this time. All right, with that being said, guys, I'm Tyson Honecker. Join us on our road to 1,000 subscribers on Emit One here. Would really appreciate you guys joining us on that journey as we do videos weekly. We do Oscar Mondays where I talk about all stuff Oscars for this upcoming Oscars. I look at past Oscars, give my winners. Definitely check those out. And we will be doing more horror movie related content this month as well. So, with that being said, guys, again, my name's Tyson Honecker. Until the next one, I'll catch you then.